You might have noticed a bit of road construction in Salt Lake City, like everywhere. My goodness, they're digging and digging. Most of the time, workers are only finding old gravel and rusted stuff. It's kind of creepy to see things that have been underground for a century or so. But every once in a while, they find something really cool, such as old trolley tracks. Now, who knows what they're going to find this year? The biggest historic haul was along 9th South a couple of years ago. And last year, they found more trolley tracks along State Street. You see, trolley cars ran all the way out to Holiday from downtown. There are more tracks out there somewhere. The last trolley tracks were used in 1927, and there were dozens of trolley lines. They started in what we know as Trolley Square, and rumbled and clanged and shook, and people loved them.
Well, first off, you're going faster than anything else you can go on at the time, except a train. And so for people, this was a quick, fast way to get someplace, faster than walking, faster than horse, and they didn't have cars. And so it was great for them. They could go where they wanted as fast as they could.
Of course, taking a look at 9th South and 13th East, you get an idea, even if you had a car, maybe it wasn't swell to drive around some days. I suppose most folks don't know, but Salt Lake City had a world-class system with hundreds of miles of track crisscrossing the city. In one year, 1913, the system had 38 million rides. Just look at the mess downtown when the trolley drivers went on strike in 1907. Actually, there were even competing companies that ran next to each other. As I said, trolleys were big deals. They only seemed to cooperate when they had to lay down the track, which they did several times. Trolley cars were very hard on the rails. Now, when you rode a trolley, you got all gussied up. That went back to the days of the mule-pulled cars in 1872. After all, it was a trip into the city.
Streetcars enabled people to live farther away from downtown and still be able to work there, so it was essential to the economy.
So what happened? What caused folks to bury the tracks, and when did it happen?
These tracks have been hidden since at least 1927. 1927 is the last year that they only had trolley cars here. After that, they started using motor coaches, which were buses that used the overhead lines. And then they introduced in the 1940s the gas buses. And eventually, trolley cars went away.
They kept a few lines going for a while, but we were now in the era of cars. In fact, in 1941, it was to be the last trolley, May 31st of 41 to be exact. It was decorated with a wreath, and it would run the downtown run. But with the war and shortages, the last trolley and its wreath was premature, and a few still ran in the city, until a storm flooded Salt Lake City in 45, and it was all over. And that's the story of all the timbers and twisted rails that we recently saw on 9th South. Quite a story. Remembering the history of the trolley cars. You know, back when people say you used to be able to get around town. And now that we have all this construction, what treasures will they dig up next?